Franchise Growth Show where we do not just talk scale, we talk value. I'm Joe Carter. I've built, bought, and sold multiple brands inside the franchise world, and I've also sat across from private equity, seeing what buyers chase or what they walk away from. And today's guest, he is proving that you don't need storefronts, staff, or inventory to build a high margin, high demand franchise. Todd is the director of franchise development for NTV360, a brand that is flipping the traditional franchise model on its head. Think no real estate, no royalty percentage, and a recurring revenue engine that is built around digital billboard networks. This is what happens when local advertising meets modern franchising. If you're an operator who's looking to scale without burnout, or an investor looking for leverage without overhead, this episode is for you. So let's dive right in. Todd, first and foremost, thank you for being on.
Hey, Joe, thanks, buddy. Pleasure to be here today. Beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. So let's go back and start with the foundation. What exactly is NTV 360 and what problem is it solving for local businesses?
Yeah, so NTV 360 in short form is giving the local business entity the power to be a big player because most local businesses don't have the cash, the capital of a Coca-Cola, let's say, right? So NTV is putting the power of digital advertising in the franchisee's hands and ultimately into the local market, right? So the problem we're solving is that the local donut shop, even the car dealerships, coffee locations, doctors, lawyers, service entities, and other service franchisees. It's all about content. Content is king. And NTV basically is putting these screens, which are TVs, strategically placed in a territory or a market. And we are building the business plan for the franchisee. In typical world, a franchise is going to say, hey, you need to build us a business plan. Well, we flip that and we're building it for them. We're giving them actual locations to visit and hopefully get these screens placed. And there is some secret sauce, and I know we'll get to that, so I won't spoil the whole lot right now up front. But the digital world that we live in, everybody needs to advertise, get the name of your business out there. And that is the problem we're solving because we're giving business owners this opportunity at no cost to them. That's right, it's free advertising.
I love that. And that right there is a high leverage model. You're giving value to two sides. Venues get foot traffic tools, and local businesses get the visibility, the content that you just referenced, where it matters. So it's a media network with a recurring revenue that's baked in. That's amazing. What made NTV 360 choose franchising as its path to scale?
Yeah, so we have been doing this quite a while. We had over 100 locations, our legacy guys that have been around a while, our dealers, as we so called them. And we used that, which was pretty smart. We used that as our proof of concept. So we wanted to get this thing started, get the engine going, and make sure it worked, iron out all the bumps, hurdles, the little details, right? Dot the I's, cross the T's. And so we decided to start franchising because we saw a need. And of course, franchising, of course, gets it out to the masses via the broker networks, right? Even though we're a digital marketing company, and that's where our roots first started before we went to this digital indoor billboards or screens, right? We can't penetrate the market like these broker networks can, right? When you have thousands of brokers, franchise brokers out there, and they can see the concept, the brand, what it does, the repetitive nature, the simplicity, which is something I'll hit on a lot today, the simplicity of this business, recurring revenue. It can be built into a semi-absentee, almost full absentee model if you like. It really is the round peg that fits in the square hole. So using that backbone, right, of those legacy dealers, the proof of concept made us turn to franchising. And it's just been a fantastic year. This year, we've had explosive growth numbers. We've done over 50 new territories in 1 year. So, and it's just not stopping. We've expanded into Canada. We currently have 4 locations there. And believe it or not, we are opening the UK in late first quarter this year. So the engine is running and we're not stopping.
I love it. An international brand in the making. And truthfully, that's the move that a lot of franchise brands potentially get wrong. And this proof of concept thing that you just referenced. You had, what did you say, 100 different legacy owners that prove that concept. And now you don't need a national sales force when your franchisees become the boots on the ground to scale your brand into Canada, which already has, and now the UK. That's amazing. It's awesome. Kudos and congrats on that. I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, appreciate that. No, I got a couple surprises for you today, Joe. But no, yeah, so
Ooh.
yeah, it's exciting times. A lot of juice, energy, and and it really opens us up too. Because we want to be embedded in our communities as much as we want our franchisees embedded with the local businesses. And that's the whole premise of this business, this concept. It gives us a chance to embed ourselves and, of course, hire more people, bring more jobs to the marketplace. The more we can expand as a company, the more it helps everyone.
Yep. 100% agree with that. So let's talk structure if we could. What systems does NTV360 provide to help make sure that a new franchisee coming into the model can succeed out of the gate?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things we provide, again, we'll go back to that word simplicity, is that we have a fantastic team. Our corporate headquarters is in Denver, Colorado. We have a fantastic team of over 30 people there. And what they do is they literally train every franchisee. So you're getting that hands-on touch. Now, everybody listening to this is going to say, well, why is that different from any other franchise? Every franchise does that, from the grass cutting people to the plumber. There is a difference. And the difference is what we do with this playbook. As I talked about earlier, imagine, Joe, opening a business and you not have to struggle day one with all that juice. You're excited. Then day one and you freak out and you say, oh my God, I now own XYZ business. What's my first step? What do I do? Well, we're going to do it for you by bringing you in, showing you the playbook. We're going to give you host locations where the screens are placed. We're going to give you that list. We're going to provide that path for you. Not only do we provide the path, Joe, we teach you how to rinse and repeat. So we are actively showing you how to go out and find host locations. Those are the folks that get free advertising. Now, we are also going to provide a list to you and show you how to rinse repeat on the top advertisers, people who pay money to advertise, who to go after in your territory. So we're, in a sense, building a digital business plan for you. So we're going to let you hit the ground running and kick off. Now, here's the other thing that's really unique with our model, our concept, and what we do. We give you a grace period. And here's what that is. Most franchises, when you sign in that contract with them, typically the next month, following month, you already owe them fees and you owe them money, or you owe them a percentage. And maybe it's a flat rate till you can ramp up. And I call it ramp up like catch up. Well, guess what? On our side, we give you a grace period, minimum on our lowest investment of 3 months. So if Joe signs today as a franchisee with NTV, February will be his training month. I'm giving you March, April, and May with no fee. So the next time you owe a fee is not until June. So I'm giving you all this ramp period at no money out of your pocket. I'm giving you all this ramp period to get your business engine going. And remember, we're already giving you the keys to the kingdom. So we see a much higher success rate, right? With you succeeding quickly, faster, early, while providing this grace period. Because we're not here to nickel and dime people. We want people to be successful, right? You're going to have bumps and hurdles. And yes, you're going to have to put out a few bucks, right? For the screens, for example, you're going to have to put out a few bucks to make some purchases on equipment. But it's not astronomical. So the quicker I can get you to break even, the better we both are. And that's what our plan does, and that's what we do.
I love that. I love that. And you just said some really key buzzwords that I absolutely love: a playbook and the ramp period that you provided, kind of a no cost outside of potentially some equipment fees that you're going to have for a 90-day timeline to get your business ramped up and get to a break-even point, hopefully faster than that, so that you're in a true cash flow position. But everybody out there that's listening, that's what you should look for: franchise lift. You want franchises that are not just focused on revenue. They are focused on your return on investment. Done for you marketing is the edge. I love that. Great job, Todd. A lot of people out there hear quote unquote digital and get nervous, maybe a little bit. I've heard this actually from my own clients. So do franchisees need a tech background to be successful in this model?
They don't. And I'll give you a true life story, right? So my two daughters, who are older daughters, right? One in college, one almost in college. They used to tease me because I'm the guy that had the iPhone that still had the home screen button, right? I always struggled with technology. I still struggle with it today. I use it to talk on, and that's pretty much all I do, right? So my point behind that is you don't have to be tech savvy with us, even though we're a tech savvy digital company. This training program we put you through, and believe it or not, the people who come in with a non-tech background tend to be more successful faster because they're not jaded. They're not, they haven't been
Yeah.
brainwashed to think they know it all. So our team, we have these little millennial people, 20-something-year-olds in our office that have these high-end degrees that come in and show you how to do all these wonderful digital things. Our best franchisees are soccer moms. They're husband and wife combination. One's an executive, one's a stay-home mom. This fits the bill for everyone. I don't need you to have a huge sales background, sales mantra, 1,000 different courses, right, with that history and that pedigree and all those abbreviations behind your name. I don't need that. In fact, it's better if you don't have that because we teach our system. And the proof is brokers who showcase our model who have bought our concept. There is no other better way to prove your concept if a broker's buying it. But those folks giving testimonials and videos and saying, and that team in Denver, which I would put that team, and I've been in the franchise world for over 20 years, I would put that team up here as compared to any other team I've ever associated or worked with. And I don't think they get the just doing credit because if they did not do a great job, then I wouldn't be selling as many as I could, right? Because the word would get out. They would say NTV support is crummy, and it's not. It's fantastic. And when brokers and high-level executives say they've never seen the support like this and they've had before growing a business, building a business where they truly are attached to your hip, that team, you can't ask for more. And again, that's another piece of that secret sauce with that team helping you along the way to drive and build that business.
Love it. I love it. And in my opinion, that's the right split. You mentioned it, like training and support and onboarding is how you get a franchisee to not only break even, to be successful. The brand builds the infrastructure and then ultimately the owner goes and drives the growth. You don't have to scale complexity, you scale clarity. So it's a fantastic job, and shout out to the Denver team because you guys are fantastic.
Awesome.
What is a typical week, day in the life of kind of a thing look for an NTV360 owner?
Yeah, so I would say you have to remember, since this is not a hardcore sales entity, again, with that sales background, this is very much so a relationship play, right? You're working with folks in your local community, you're visiting folks in the local community, explaining the concept. The concept is simple, is that they're allowing you to hang a TV screen. We call it an indoor digital billboard. But in the short form, it's a TV screen that they allow you to hang in their location. The benefit that they get, of course, is the free advertising. And we'll get deeper into that. But a day in the life is visiting locations, having conversations. There is no hardcore sales either, because when you do get to the point that you're trying to attract advertisers, NTV does not dictate terms. And let me explain that. In your typical world, a franchise is going to tell you, you have to charge X for X, and that is our suggested retail price. We've had all this wonderful future and analytics that tells us what it is. That's not how this works with NTV. NTV is the franchisee. I decide what I'm going to charge Joe for advertising on one screen, 2 screens, 10 screens, 20 screens. And I can charge Joe something different than when I charge Todd, because I control that play as well. The whole scheme behind NTV is to give the franchisee almost full control, right? We want them to be comfortable. They don't have to sell and be a bang-up salesperson, but they're going out, they're making touches and relationships. Maybe they're doing things that you and I pretty much in this world already enjoy doing. And that's just having conversations with people, right? How's the kids? How's the wife, right? What's going on this weekend? Da, 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 da. It leads to just conversations about, well, what are you doing in your life now? I heard you have a new venture, right? So it's a relaxed sales approach. It's not, you're not banging people against the wall in their head saying, buy, buy, buy. It's very much so a relaxed approach. And by touching those businesses, visiting those businesses, associating with networking groups and chamber groups, you're embedding yourself in the community. And that's the best thing you can do, because all of us want to give back in a way to our communities. And that's what you're doing. You're embedding yourself in the community. You become a man of the people, right? And you have a great business backing you that can assist the smaller guy, right? Because again, he doesn't have the capital and cash as the Coca-Cola, but you're assisting him and driving additional money, additional business on a daily basis back to him. So just those touches, those visiting different businesses, passing the word. This is also a revenue share play. Hey, Joe, you own XYZ gym. Anybody you send me and I can sign him to an advertising contract, I'll give you 10%. I'll give you 20%. So now the local businesses are referring other local businesses to the franchisee of NTV360. So it's driving that recurring revenue and keeping that business local. And that's awesome. You can't ask for a better thing because all of us want our communities to thrive. And that's truly what NTV is built on, is that community thrive element.
Absolutely. And just to double down on a couple of things you said, this is what I would put it as anti brick and mortar. You go brick and mortar, you're going to be told not just what you have to charge, but you're going to be told when you should be open, when you should be closed, what holidays you can be closed. Like all of those things are either determined by the brand or by the real estate location. One or the other is going to pivot your entire business model. Really, this is an anti brick and mortar business. You're not unlocking the door at 6 a.m. to do food prep. You are building territory, stacking relationships. So you get some affiliation, like you talked about, where you have a revenue share program, and ultimately cash flowing from home. So fantastic.
Right. That's right. And think about it this way. We just came off the holidays. People were traveling, going to visit other folks. Some people maybe were having vacations. We're going to Cabo San Lucas. We're going to Aspen, Colorado to ski. We're going to Disney World. Well, here's the cool thing. Joe, if you're an NTV franchisee, if you have internet, Tahiti, Hawaii, Aspen, Disney World, you can still run your business. All you need is a desk like we're sitting at today. You already have your brick and mortar. It's your house. It's your office it's your office in your home, right? And so that's the nice thing. The software, that secret sauce, the proprietary items that we give you, that software allows you to run your business remotely from a desk, from a laptop, from any kind of workstation. As long as you have internet, buddy, you can do anything we need you to do. And that's another beautiful thing about this is that you don't have to drive to 44 locations to upload these ads. You're going to click on screens 1, 2, 5, 7, and 10 because Joe wants to be on 1, 2, 5, 7, and 10. And I hit a button and the ad uploads to the screens. That's it. And no one's the wiser. And our day just keeps on trucking.
I love it. I love it. So obviously in the franchise world, there's some things that we can disclose publicly, and then there's some things that we need to wait for an NDA to be signed by somebody. And not every single person in this audience has signed an NDA just yet. Although if you want to, reach out to me, I'll get it signed so we can give you all of that information. But before we do that, let's kind of navigate around those parameters if possible, but still talk numbers. What's the typical investment range for someone wanting to get into the brand, and what, if any, are the ongoing costs that they would see?
Sure. And these numbers I'll give you today are posted in our FDD. They are public knowledge, so you can verify and take a look at those. So we offer 3 franchise fee levels. We offer a 35, a 50, and a 75K. The major differences with those are how big your territory will be. It's based on population. Now, the unique thing is if Joe's interested in NTV, Joe and Todd are going to work together and design, layout, draw that. And if Joe gets to a point, he says, oh, that's too far to drive, I want to hit some of those businesses, we'll shrink it down. So we customize that territory based on your out-of-pocket expense. So your out-of-pocket expense is your franchise fee. The other thing you'll have expense on are the TVs. Now the TVs are 2 models, 2 sizes, and they're going to run you $130 to $200. So I always tell people, hey, ballpark $200. So on a $35,000 franchise fee, you have 20 screens you have to launch into the market in your first year. Not hard at all. I have folks that signed in July and they're up to 36 screens already. Okay. Wow. So 20 screens within that first year times $200. I'm not good at math, but I think that's $4,000, right? So 35K, $4,000. You're going to have a little travel to Denver. On the 50 and 75K program, we do pay for your flights and your hotel. On the 35K is usually a virtual training, but I do encourage my folks, hey, bite the bullet, spend $1,000, come to training. You want to meet the team in Denver. You want to see behind scenes items. So you're looking at 42, 45 at most, right? Because what other, expenses you're going to have? Your gas, your drive time, right? Your mileage maybe, because you're working out of a home office. You pay a franchise fee. All you have to do is get your TVs, your screens, right? And the other element behind this is maybe the install. So we do have franchisees that do the installs themselves. But remember,
Sure.
since you control the airwaves, you control the slots, the TVs, the ads, the length, the whole 9 yards, you can barter this out. I suggest to franchisees, you go to your local audiovisual guy or an up-and-coming guy, and you say, hey, man, you've got a great business. I'm going to give you a free ad on all of my screens at no cost. What I need in exchange is for you to install these TVs. You can do that. We allow you to do that. You control. Joe, you own 5 businesses. You own X, Y, and Z. Your wife's got a hair salon, nail salon. Your brother-in-law that you can't stand's got a business, but you want to make nice with him. So you give him free advertising. You can give everybody free advertising. You still have to pay your monthly fee that you owe us now, right? Because it's a flat rate monthly fee, but you still control the airwaves. And that's why brokers, of course, we mentioned before, brokers love this model. They jump on board because they're advertising their brokerage firm. They're advertising their other businesses. They're advertising their wife's business, friend's business, right? So it becomes a big mass source to advertise all these businesses through.
I love that. That's lean and clean. That flat fee gives a franchisee room to scale margins, not just scale revenue. So that's music to the ears of any growth stage operator or even private equity ears. So kudos there. How many either advertisers or screens does it take for someone to get to a break-even point on average?
Yeah, so I wouldn't put a number on the number of screens or advertising. Here's why. Since the franchisee can control that mechanism, they could literally sell 4 advertisers at $500, $2,000 a month. And on our low-end franchise fee, that's typically what you owe is $2,000. So they would break even, right? But you could also sell 20 advertisers at $100 a month, $2,000, break even. So there's a lot of flexibility in there. Remember, franchisee controls that cost mechanism. Hey, Joe, it's a 6-month contract. I'm putting you on 6 screens. It's $600 a month. If you pay with me up front now, I'll give you a 25% discount. The franchisee controls all of that. Now, the software system will give you options and suggested pricing, but you just change the number. Yeah, 6 screens, 6 months, $600 a month, 25% discount. Boom, I got Joe. So while I wouldn't put a number, right? Of course, there's a sweet spot we see in a per screen advertisement wise, right? But you can see that it could be 20 advertisers or it could be 2. You could get 2 advertisers at $1,000 and you've made your break even $2,000 a month and the rest is profit. So the number you're looking for to clear this up a little more is $75 per screen. So if I have 1 screen and I sell 1 ad at $100 to Joe, I'm actually making $25. So then if I go get 9, 10 other ads on that 1 screen, that sweet spot, I'm making $1,000 per screen. So if you look at our item 19, the gentleman did $292K. He did a $212 profit. That's a 72% margin. That's $6,000 profit on 35 screen network. That's $6,000 in his pocket per screen per year. And Joe, show me another business, show me another franchise that has a 72% margin. I will partner up with you. We can go into business together.
There's not very many that are at 72% margins. There's not many out there. But to your point, the franchisee has the autonomy to be able to slide that around. But at the end of the day, it's about revenue per screen. Add screens, add slots, add value. So you're basically scaling an SAS model with territory instead of servers. So I love it. It's fantastic.
That's it. 100%.
So I know you've mentioned that there's an awful lot of franchisees out there that have no tech background, and they're either husband-wife combos or soccer moms or whatever it may be. But is there an ideal franchisee? And what are those traits that lead to success inside the model?
Yeah, I would say a networker. And what I mean by that, a relationship person, right? Someone who's an extrovert that maybe doesn't even have the sales skills. Somebody like you and I likes to talk, interact, meet, greet. And one of my things I say all the time, and my wife hates this saying, of course, but it's a person that has to be able to shake hands and kiss babies, right? And if that's what you can do, ultimately, you'll be success in this business because we can teach you everything else. The technology is simplistic and we do it on purpose, right? The less moving parts, the less errors it will have. And we do that on very much so on purpose. That's the whole play here. Not a lot of moving parts, not a lot of elements, not a lot of math to think about. Oh, well, if I don't hit this number, I'm going to owe X percentage. And if I miss this, then it's going to go up. And in 6 months from now, my royalty is going to go up. Throw that out the window. And that's why there's such an energy behind this when you speak to people, because they come into the call, right? That initial discovery call with some anxiety. We all do. But
Sure.
when I throw across my wonderful, bubbly personality to them and just show them how much fun NTV is, then they flip that script and they flip them to the other side of the coin. They become relaxed and they see how easy this is because of the lack of moving parts. So while I would never say there's an ideal candidate, the traits we look for is, yes, if you've had advertising or digital background, TV, marketing, those folks tend to thrive. Newspaper background, radio background, of course, any sales background of any sort. I have people from Amazon that have come on board, become franchisees. Now, Amazon's not really sales, right? But they're still a success. So it's really more based on that relationship and / personality type feature than it is that sales piece. Of course, any existing business owner or franchise owner, they're fantastic for us. And here's why. Most other franchises, right, they charge that wonderful local marketing fee. Okay. So that's just a fee that comes out of your pocket to explain that a little further every month that you have to invest in marketing to get your brand out there. Well, guess what? Let's say Joe Carter owns, I'm going to say Soccer Stars, just because it's on the top of my mind. We said soccer moms earlier. So Joe Carter owns a Soccer Stars franchise. Well, if Joe owns NTV, and think about this for a minute, Joe can write a check to himself at NTV, pay himself back in his pocket, meet his covenant with Soccer Stars, and then he's also blasting that Soccer Stars across the network of screens at NTV. Oh, and by the way, Joe also gets a free ad for his local media network, whatever. I'm in New Orleans, for example, maybe I call it Gulf Coast local media, or, if you're in Illinois, maybe you call it, Cubs local media, whatever, right? Whatever name you come up with, since you're controlling that, you have that ad space that's yours. Again, remember the brother-in-law you don't like, you can give him free advertising, right? So, by the way, I love my brother-in-law. So, but you can give them free advertising, right? And so that's the point, that full control, that autonomy we really want to give that franchisee. That's truly what makes this work.
This is fantastic. So while it might be slightly beneficial, you don't have to be a media expert or a tech expert. You just need to want to work and have the personality to be able to go out there and start up conversations and network and do all those things, and allow this franchise to be your amplifier, because your hustle is going to be the input to it.
That's right. That's right. And our team is there every step of the way. We even offer for an added in value. Okay, what we offer is one of our team members to fly to your market. They come with you for a week. They take you by the hand and they go sign up locations. Now I'm talking about blind cold calls. So I had them in one of my markets in Dallas, Texas before the new year. They signed up 9 locations in a week. I had them in Boise, Idaho. They signed up 11 locations. So remember that ramp up period, and you only have to get to 20 screens that first year, right? You can start making money on 2 screens, 1 screen, right? Remember, depending on the advertiser. But the more screens you get up, the more people are going to see it, right? Eyeballs, traffic, foot traffic, grocery stores, doctor's offices, all that stuff, right? The faster it's going to accelerate. So that's the theory there. Let us come help you. Again, we're going to build you, help you, teach you, train you, rinse, repeat. So our team goes out there and they help you scale your business. Show me another franchise that's going to have someone come to the field for a week and scale your business. Walk into a location blind, no appointment set up, and close a deal as a host locations. Show me that. It's not going to happen. It doesn't happen that often, but we are living proof that it works.
You're absolutely living proof that it works. So obviously, at least in the beginning, you're substantially more invested in the business because you're trying to get those screens, trying to get to that 20 break even and beyond, right? But what point can the owner pivot to more of a semi-absentee or even a full absentee model that you referenced earlier?
Yeah, so I think that's a product of scale, right? So I think if you can get to, which our goal is to get you to that monthly break even. So if it's $2,000 that you owe us per month, and we don't start charging you till June. We're in January. I want to try to get you there by that 6th month. Okay, that's our goal, is to try to get you to that 6 to 9 month window where you're break even, right? So that's ultimately where we want to put you. And I'm sorry, what was your question, to be a little more specific?
So, like, at what point can someone pivot to being more
Pivot.
semi-absentee or full absentee?
Yeah, so I think that's up to them too, right? Because if you got 20 screens in the market making 20 grand a month, $1,000 a screen, you only owe me 2 grand, that's $18,000. Then you can pivot. You can pivot, right? So there's some very small growth requirements. It's only a 5-year contract with us. So some very small growth requirements on a per year basis, but you can pivot at any time. So it's really dependent upon the individual on how fast they want to pivot. So I see people get into this, and the next thing you know, after 1 year, they're backing off and they're only working 5 to 10 hours. And we have proof. One of our validators that we use in our validation calls, it's Blake and Sarah. They're out of Wyoming. They are farmers, Joe. They're professional farmers. And they started this business, never thought it would grow this big. They're up to 60 screens. And they will tell you it's afforded them a great lifestyle. They've connected their community. They've seen their community thrive. And they only work on NTV 5 to 10 hours a week. Now, I challenge you on that as well. Go show me a business after a year to year and a half period of time that you've got this mechanism, this train, this wheel that's rolling, that's putting recurring revenue into your pocket, and you're working on it 5 to 10 hours a week. Don't tell me about drop shipping. That's not going to work. Okay, we know that's a fad. So this is a real business. It is a proven business, proven model, and it continues to work every day.
I love it. It's fantastic. And that's truthfully, that's critical. So put in the work in the beginning, short period of time, and ultimately you build the flywheel and it becomes leverage and true ownership after that point. As you get past that break even to a true scaling model, and then you can decide, do I want to work 5-10 hours a week and still be making Wyoming level money? Or do I want to continue to put in 20 to 40 hours a week and scale this substantially? You get to make that decision in that autonomy. So that's fantastic.
That's right. And you can scale other ways too. Like there are no rules that say you can't go hire a general manager or a sales rep, right? Now, granted, you have to keep in mind, if you go do that, that's money out of your pocket that you have to pay someone. Sure. But if you come into this and you do have a nice little wad of cash built up and you want to take that approach, we're going to train your people. That's another thing. We're going to train your people. So you don't have to worry about you trying to train them. We're going to train them. We're going to give them the keys to the kingdom, or give them the keys to drive the car. We're going to show them how to do it the right way. Because what we want to happen is we want Joe, Susie, Billy, and Tommy all saying the same thing in 4 different areas of the country all the time. Because, of course, if one person gets off the track and the train's going down the track, then that misconstrues things, and we don't want that happening. So, of course, we're going to take that upon us, ourselves, and our team, and train your people as well. So you can scale it as well. We do have folks that have a general manager or some sort of a managerial type figurehead, and as well as feet on the street if you choose to go that route. That is an option as well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So you teased a little bit earlier. So now I want to kind of circle back up to, you said there was some good stuff coming that you wanted to share with us. And I think you have already started to tell us some about it, but ultimately, what's up next for NTV360? Is there updates on growth, tech innovation? What's the next step and the next level of growth?
Yeah, so I would say there's a couple of next steps, right? And so first, obviously, is Canada. We dipped our toe into the water with Canada. We started that probably around November, December, and we've got 4 locations. So the nice thing about Canada is it's people who want to thrive in their community, just like America. There isn't not much difference. Culture-wise, maybe there is as well. We do work with E2 visa candidates as well. So that's another advantage I would say that we do have, because not all brands will do that. The other advantage we have is we have a ton of white space. When you can bring on 55 new territories, and I can look at my screen and say that there's not a single metropolitan market in the United States that I have is sold out. So I'm talking about Orlando, New York, Dallas. I'm talking about California. I could put 200 more branches in. So there's so much expansion room, right? There's so much simplicity in regards to how this business is structured and worked. And of course, the creme de la creme, as they say, and it's fitting to use that kind of slang, is obviously the UK launch. The UK launch for us is going to be outstanding. We already have mechanisms in place, paperwork side to get things going. We're already doing legwork. We're looking at different franchise shows. Our plan was to have this moving along a little further, quicker, but what we're targeting now is probably end of the first quarter. So what we see is in many of these countries, and we'll target UK for now, we're going to say England, of course, Scotland and Ireland. They're much like us, right? It's all these businesses looking to penetrate local markets to keep business in those local markets, local entities. And that is NTV. We are a local business in a local market, and that's the way we want to keep it. So our model fits just right in. It's plug and play, right? And I don't know too many franchises as well are going to be plug and play, and we are plug and play. So we could literally launch tomorrow because of our broker network and our relationships we have with those broker networks. We have brokers knocking on the door now saying, when are you launching in the UK? I want to buy one for myself, but I also have got 10 people lined up for you. So we just see a huge, obviously, whirlwind coming. We're staffing up, we're prepping ourselves, we're ready to go. So technology-wise is ever changing. We have a great technology team in the Denver side. We have a second office in the Philippines. So we're doing great things there. A huge, beautiful office. You can check that out on LinkedIn under NTV's profile. We employ probably 30 to 35 people there. So what I like to say, Joe, is when you and I are sleeping, the Philippines team, they're working on those ads. And that's the other thing. Those ads, the content, you or your client, nobody pays for that. The content is free. Now, as an advertiser, you get a new ad every 30 days. You can run a New Year's special, Easter special, or I like to say you can run a Thanksgiving, a Christmas, a New Year's. You can keep on going the whole year. So content is king. An advertiser gets a new ad every 30 days. As a host location, you get a new ad every 90 days. Now remember, hosts are not paying for anything. It's free. But what happens is you've got 10, 12 host locations. You got 10, 12 ads playing on these 10, 12 host locations. Todd owns the gym, right? And he's going to see these ads of the paid advertisers changing every 30 days. He's going to call Joe and say, Joe, hey, why is my ad the same and everybody's changing? And at that point in time, since you've already built that network and you've got it, then you can charge him whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's pure profit. You turn around and tell Todd, hey, well, remember, you're getting it for free. If you want paid advertising and new ad every 30 days, and instead of selling him, you ask him, what do you think is fair? And if he says 2 screens at $200, sold. At that point, it doesn't make a difference. So it's not a hardcore pressure sales environment. It very much so is a relationship type of entity. And that's where we're going. The technology is always changing. We're always coming updates with the new software, the newest flashy dance type thing. We can throw QR codes on the ads. You and I are having tacos on Taco Tuesday like today, and we're going to eat for an hour. We're going to sit there for an hour. We're going to see the billboard change and flow. We're going to see that ad. We're going to say, you know what? That's a good idea. Let's bring the Wise back on Friday, and let's have some 2-for-1 margaritas on a Friday. Because look, let's be real. How many times you driving down an interstate or road and you see a billboard, you have about 7 to 9 seconds to remember the name, phone number, what the business does. Maybe you grab your phone, which is dangerous. You try to take a picture of the billboard, it comes out crappy, and guess what? You've passed the billboard. That's 7 to 9 seconds. So with this loop of ads, it's in front of your face. There's like an 83, and this is scientific, there's 83% higher recall rate because you're seeing that ad over and over and over. Here's the other thing that happens, Joe. You own a business, okay? You go work out in the morning, you see the screens, you see the ads playing. You're like, oh, that's pretty cool. You go get your checkup at the doctor. You're in the doctor's office in the waiting room, you see the ads playing. You're like, wait a minute, now these ads are on this screen. You go around the corner to the coffee store, the coffee shop. You see the ads playing again. You're like, hold on a minute. Then you go to the grocery store to get your protein powder. And you're like, hold on a minute. I see the ads again. I've been in 4 locations. I currently own a business. If I've seen these ads playing in 4 different locations, I need to be a part of this. And you know why? Because that's the eyeballs you want seeing your ad as an owner. So that's what happens is then you just start getting phone calls. My name's Joe. I own XYZ business. I saw these ads. I felt like they were following me along throughout my day. I've got to be a part of this. And it just kind of virally grows. And that truly is what this business is about, is that exposure, that brand recognition, right? And as you hear all the time, content is king.
Absolutely. And that's it. Simplicity scales. I say it all the time. Vision without systems is a trap. And NTV is building a kind of model that buyers and anyone who's needing an advertising space is chasing. So for anyone out there that's listening and is like, man, I need in on this. They're scaling in Canada, they're scaling in the UK, and there's so many markets still available in the US. I need in. How do they reach out to Todd and your team?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me directly via email, and I don't mind sharing my email with everyone. It's Todd, Toddb, as in Bourgeois. Yes, that is my last name. Strong, heavy French influence down here in New Orleans. So Todd B at NTV360.com. So you can shoot me an email, an inquiry. We'll have a conversation, a discovery call. We'll have you talk validation with other business owners, gives you a chance to talk that one-on-one and get the real gist of the business, ask some further in-depth questions. And that's the nice thing is our validators are your soccer moms. They are an 82-year-old gentleman that has 200 plus screens. There are a gentleman that is in the FDD item 19. There's another gentleman in Florida that has 90 screens. That's one of he's a franchisee. He's also one of our corporate trainers. We utilize him to train folks. So we're going to give you Blake and Sarah. I mentioned them, the professional farmers out of Wyoming. We can give you whoever you want to validate with. That way you can relate to them. We have military folks, right? We do obviously offer a military discount as well. So we're everywhere. The growth is there. Feel free to reach out to me. Obviously, watching the podcast, hopefully, Joe, you can throw up my email address as well on somewhere on the podcast screen or something on the web page so folks can reach out to me. And again, if you can't get through me, just call the local office in Denver, send an email, say you're looking for Todd, and they'll get that message to me. No problem.
I love it. And yes, please scroll down. We'll make sure that Todd's email is included along with all the social links to NTV so you can go check out their LinkedIn page and everything else that they have from a content standpoint. So you can do full rep and then reach out, talk to Todd, get your validation done, and get going. So Todd, this has been fire, dude. This has been amazing. That is a wrap for this episode of the Franchise Grow So let's recap. NTV is not a billboard company. It is a recurring revenue platform. Franchisees run lean. It's tech enabled. There's no leases. There's no inventory. There's no royalty games. You're scaling and helping local businesses in a category that's growing super fast, and there's plenty of availability out there. So if you want to dig deeper, then reach out to either Todd or myself. DM me the word blueprint. I will get you linked up with Todd and his team. We'll help you through all the validation steps so that you can ultimately get your territory locked up and start creating a revenue model that potentially can have you working 5 or 10 hours a week and making 6 figures plus type of income. So is it simple? Yes. Is it easy? Not always. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Until next time, continue building strategically and have a fantastic rest of your day, everyone. Thank you all so much.